We're about to get on a flight for Pyongyang. North Korea is one of the toughest places for a journalist to get into, but we've been invited. We're going on an official tour though, so we'll see what they show us.
We board a vintage Air Koryo Tupolev. The propaganda is soon at hand. North Korea apparently owes it all to former leader and still godlike figure Kim Il-sung. The only other significant contributor has been his son and current leader, Kim Jong-il. We arrive in North Korea's capital, a city shrouded in mystery. Pyongyang is North Korea's showcase, with boulevards, monuments, grand government buildings, and signature traffic police. The capital is home to the country's elite, who are sheltered from its worst hardships. The city seems frozen in time. There's no advertising, no jeans, mobile phones are banned, and people seem to walk everywhere. Basic utilities are in short supply, but the propaganda machine never sleeps. It's day one of our 4-day express tour. There are 12 of us, and we'll be accompanied at all times by 4 minders. We're not allowed to leave the hotel without them.
This is the Jungguyo. In English, it is in the Central District.
Kim Hyun-chol is our main guide. First stop, Mangyongdae, the ancestral home of the great leader Kim Il-sung. It's Sunday, North Korea's day of rest, and there are plenty of visitors. Mr. Kim's already frustrated that we're not paying enough attention.
Some people listen to me and some people didn't listen to me. Yes, yeah. Let's go. Let's visit.
Visitors enthusiastically drink from the great leader's family well. Not bad. It's very cold.
I also drink the water of this well every time I came here because the well was used by the family of President Kim Il-sung.
And the photos on its both sides show his father and his mother. So
the people who are permitted to guide us are chosen for their loyalty and for their understanding of the system and its position on matters, and they are supposed to be representatives of that position.
Joining our tour is American journalist and author Bradley Martin. This is his 6th trip to North Korea in the last 18 years. Having written a book about the personality cults of Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, he's a little surprised he's been allowed back in.
Americans basically are not welcome here in general. The only way I've been in recent times is as a tourist, and this is a country that's based on propaganda, and what they show us on these tours is propaganda. So I come here and I gratefully receive the latest installment of the propaganda, and I try to see what's changed.
Next, the Russian-built subway. These are the best maintained stations in the system, and the only ones tourists ever get to see. Pyongyang's underground railway was built in 1973.
And how important is it to the life of Pyongyang, the subway?
Yes, I know that 50,000 people use this metro every day. So it plays a good role in transportation the labor.
50,000 out of 3 million Pyongyang residents isn't that many. The vast majority of people either walk or use the trams and buses. We don't get a ride on them, possibly because they're falling apart. Moored on Pyongyang's Taedong River is the captured American Navy ship Pueblo. The North Koreans say it was spying on them when they seized it in 1968. Here Mr. Kim opens up a bit about his life in North Korea.
10 years ago, there was much difficulties for my family, not only food, clothes, and no electricity, no water. And now, every day, there are 2 or 3 hours of water. There comes the water and electricity. Yes, we have enough electricity. I have TV, computer, and refrigerator, tape recorder, and so on.
Your dear leader, how has he been able to look after the country? I mean, what do you think of his performance, if you like?
How can I know about that? Your question is something, there is something strange. How can I know about our leader's idea? How can a common person know the great and deep idea? I can't know.
When it's time to leave the city, we're told not to film while driving on country roads. Apparently, it's because we might see sensitive military facilities. But there's another reason.
They're ashamed of the countryside because every mountain and hill has been picked clean of vegetation. You see there's no forest out there. They have plowed the hillsides, all this to try to survive. During the time of the famine,
in the mid-1990s, hundreds of thousands of people died of starvation in North Korea. Some estimates put the number in the millions. Whether people are still starving is difficult for us to find out. We're not allowed near ordinary people. But in March, the North Korean government made a rare admission that it's expecting a food shortfall of 20% this year. This could see hundreds of thousands suffer from malnutrition.
I assume that they're doing somewhat better than they were doing during the Great Famine, but they don't have anything to boast about in the rural areas, and they know it.
3 hours drive north of Pyongyang at Mount Myoyangsan, we're taken to the International Friendship Exhibition,
Yeah, you will try to open it with your one hand.
a museum dedicated to gifts given to Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il. Foreign cameras are not normally allowed through these doors, but we managed to convince them to let us in.
2 years? 두 해 걸린답니다.
이 선생님이 그래도 비수심 하셨는데 한 점에 숨을 놓고 1분씩 봐도 1년 반이 걸립니다.
The collection of presents is enormous and diverse, with gifts from tyrants to sports stars, religious figures to corporate bosses. So what do we have here? This is an alligator carrying a series of cups. It looks like it's from the Sandinistas in Nicaragua have given this present to the DPRK. Now here we have this bear from President Ceausescu of Romania. He's said to have actually killed this bear himself and given this as a present. There's a bulletproof car given by the Soviet Union and used by Kim Il-sung during the Korean War.
Look around it.
Okay. And if bulletproof cars aren't enough, a bulletproof train carriage given by Soviet leader Stalin. This is a remarkably well fitted out train for what's essentially a security device for the president. We've got meeting rooms, bathrooms, sleeping compartments, and it's quite ornate. There are even gifts from Australia.
옛날 이 사냥도구, 오스트랄리아 음악가 일행에 올린 이 사냥도구는 짐승을 사냥할 때 던져서 그 먹을 질러가지고
and cut neck of the animal. This one.
Amongst the Australian presents, some goblets from the Whitlam government.
So, but our people can.
When author Bradley Martin questions the rationale behind building a huge extension to the museum, our guide is not happy.
그리고 선생님 95년부터 2000년까지 이 기간에 우리나라가 어떤 어려운 시련을 겪었는가 이에 대해서는 잘 알고 있지 않습니까?
When I suggested that this was a lot of money to spend at that time, 1995, when people were starving, she was outraged. She said, "It's our duty. It's our duty to take care of these gifts."
우리 인민들은 우리 수령님과 장군님께서 이렇게 인민의 제보라고 이 많은 선물들을 돌려주신 데 대해서 정말 감사하게 고맙게 이 생각하고 있습니다. 합시다.
Back in Pyongyang, performers warm up for North Korea's mass gymnastics spectacular. It's the centerpiece of the Arirang Festival, with 100,000 performers.
Well, here we are at the Mayday Stadium. I've got my armband on for the press, and this is really the main reason we've been allowed into the country. The North Koreans are very proud of the Arirang Festival, and it is quite spectacular.
Arirang tells the story of the birth of North Korea. There's the war against Japanese occupation, and later prosperity and peace as the Korean Workers' Party comes to power. The exploits of great leader Kim Il-sung and dear leader Kim Jong-il are central to everything.
I'm looking at the show to see what it shows about their military stance. This time they changed it slightly. They took out some really blood-curdling, smoking scenes with lots of noise of North Korean soldiers just demolishing, wiping out their enemies, who are us, basically. In the place of that, they did not add a nuclear explosion scene.
Back in the bus, the performance sparks a discussion about the causes of the Korean War. Bradley Martin suggests it was North Korea which started it.
I can't stand that. Frankly speaking, sorry, but I can't stand that. If you see that word in our country anymore, then I can't secure your life on this land.
Oh, that's frightening.
That's fine?
Frightening. If I sat down and told them, well, you know, the Russian archives have opened up, and it says right there, Kim Il-sung went to Stalin 3 times asking for permission to invade the South, and finally Stalin said, yes, I'll help you, so let's do it. They would not believe me. They simply would not believe me, and they would have no basis for believing me. It's just not within their realm of experience to believe such a thing.
If you are right, let's begin the war just now between Korea and the U.S.
I don't think that should be right.
Why the U.S. Army is in South Korea? Why?
South Korean people want it there right now.
They don't want it. You need us. You need it. You U.S. aggressors need it. They call me anytime.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. It was a wonderful.
Thanks for the evening. Thank you.
North Korea seems at times like a giant closed-off museum. But there are some signs that the DPRK may be opening a little to the world.
North Korea is open to foreign investment and business. They are interested in getting more foreign investment. because the development of the economy has a high priority. So the first one, that's an antibiotic.
Swiss businessman Felix Abt runs a pharmaceutical joint venture in Pyongyang.
This is aspirin.
It mainly produces painkillers and antibiotics for humanitarian organisations, but it's looking to export in the near future.
A very potent broadband.
He's opposed to international sanctions.
I believe that sanctions hinder economic development, and I think economic development, like elsewhere, including China, helps integrating the country into the larger world community, and I think that's in everybody's interest.
I want to pay special attention today.
Today we're off to Panmunjom, the village in the demilitarized zone between North and South Korea.
And at that area, if you didn't keep the rule, it is permitted to shoot you.
우리 건물인데 판문각이라고 합니다.
That is the Panmun Pavilion.
On arrival, we're briefed by Captain Han Myong-gil.
명백히 말할 거는 이 비무장지대 설정은
He says both sides worry about accidental shootings, with 1 million soldiers on either side of the frontier.
말대 말이면
But what we're keen to know is the North Korean military's view of its government's recent promise to give up nuclear weapons as part of the six-party talks.
아니고 우리 이전 시기도 같지만 현재도 같습니다. 동시 행동 대 행동, 말 대 말입니다. 우리는 철저히. 그런데 우리 용변 바로 원자력 발전소 그걸 동결하겠다는 거지 핵무기를 포기했다고 말한 적은 없는 것 같은데요. 핵위협을 받지 않는 그 순간이 인정된 때부터 우리한테는 핵무기가 단 한 개도 필요 없습니다. 결국은 미국은 우리 보고 이렇게 총 선생하고 나고 그 총을 이렇게 마주대고 있다가 우리 보고 먼저 총 넣으라는 소리인데 이렇게 총을 같이 교육했다가 우리가 먼저 총을 넣을 수가 있습니까? 우리 동시에 총 넣자고 동시에 같이 이렇게 탁
Only
다
at
나야
the same
된다는
time,
거죠.
two sides can put down the rifle at the same time.
This is the point where soldiers from both sides face each other every day. An American comes to have a look at who on earth the North Koreans have brought here.
다만 가슴 아픈 거는 바로 매일 쭉 군사분계선 보는 것입니다. 하지만 저 군사분계선이 모자나 없어지고 전체 조선민족이 북한함을 자유롭게 오갈 날이 꼭 올 것이라고 믿고 있습니다.
Captain Han told me that the lesson of Iraq is that a strong country can defend itself, but a weak one will be beaten down. In the heart of Pyongyang is the monument to the Juche idea. The Juche philosophy is central to the regime's ideology. It means militarily, economically, and in all ways, North Korea doesn't need anyone else to survive. What most ordinary North Koreans think of Juche, nuclear weapons, or anything else about the way the country's run for that matter, is virtually impossible to know.
So is anything really changing? Are people getting sick and tired of this in their hearts? It's possible. Some people are, but how would they express this? It's a country where dissent is unthinkable.
As we prepare to leave the country, Mr. Kim wants to end on a good note.
Especially our professor, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Again, I say, you did a good job.
Despite their differences, Mr. Kim says he respects our author and wants us all to come back.
On behalf of all members of our Korea International Consulting Company, yes, definitely. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, guys.
Our minders have been anything but a bunch of cliched hardliners. They've been genuinely hospitable, helpful, and fun.
Has it been interesting for you two, for us to be here?
Yes.